What would it be like if you took 100% responsibility for everything in your life? That's a big thing to even think about, isn't it? 100% responsibility. You might be saying, Elaine, but I'm not responsible for 100% of things in my life. I'm sure you're not. But what would it be like if you actually lived your life that way? What would be the point? What would you get out of taking full responsibility? Well, it was around 8 years ago, 7, 8 years ago, and I had found out that I couldn't have children anymore, and I just went into meltdown, and I found just going through my everyday life really, really challenging. And it was at that point I went back and did some personal development that really made a difference. And one of the conversations that we were in the inquiry of was, what would your life be if you took 100% responsibility? And I remember I was speaking to a coach on the phone, and we were in that inquiry. And at that point in my life, I was blaming everybody. I was blaming men. It's because there's not the right men out there. I'm not meeting the type of man I want to have a child with. It was men's fault. It was God. I prayed to God, and why didn't God allow me to have children? And I was upset with God. I was upset with life. Why? Why me? Why me? Why other people had children and met the partner, but why didn't it happen for me? And inside all of that blame and upset, I was just finding it really challenging to get through life. And so when I was in that inquiry of, okay, if I took on 100% responsibility, then actually it was my responsibility to have a child. I can hear you thinking like, wow, could she take on responsibility? But at that moment, I decided that, yeah, actually, it was my responsibility. I was focusing on work a lot. I wasn't putting the time and the attention into meeting a partner. I could have gone to a dating agency. I could have really been unstoppable in finding a partner to create a family with so I could have a child. Or there were other options. I could have gone for IVF a lot earlier. There's so many other things I could have done that were over there with me. So it really was my responsibility. If I wanted a child, I could have made it happen, and I didn't. And I think once I started to see that actually it was my responsibility, and it was my responsibility to forgive myself. And just in knowing that I could forgive myself, I stopped blaming everybody else. And I went into a state of just having this really inner peace that I could breathe. And then I could breathe in just forgiving myself. I didn't have to even forgive men or forgive God or anything like that. I just needed to forgive myself for being where I was at that point in my life, that I just didn't think, okay, I'm reaching a certain age. Let me look at IVF. Let me look at all these different alternatives. And so from that time onwards, when I started to take full responsibility for everything, my life, look at your life. If you take on, and for me, I have created my life right now, full responsibility. That was another thing that had me go, have I actually created the life that I really wanted? And so when I took on, full responsibility, what do then I want to create in my life? And so that's the question I'll ask for you. If you took on 100% responsibility for everything in your life and for your life, what do you want to create? Because it's your responsibility to go out and create that. And so that's what I've been doing over these years. I've created adopting a child because it's my responsibility to create family. In my business as well, I really went into working for myself full time. So what is it that if you take 100% responsibility, what pathways then can you take? What actions can you take? Because if the power is over there with somebody else, you'll never be able to take power over here for yourself to go and create what you want in your life. So what is that? Take full responsibility for your life and for all the things that you want to go and create. And when things happen and they don't happen the way you want them to happen, take on the concept of taking full responsibility. Because if you do, that's where the power is. Because then you can go, okay, that didn't work, so let me try this, let me try that. I know that when I was doing a Speakerpreneur summit, at one point, my VA copied out automations of all the 21, 23 video daily emails to go out, and she copied them over. And for whatever reason, she made it active, and all the emails for the 27 people who subscribed at that period of time where she made it active, all 23 emails went out to everyone who signed up all at once, because there were no 1 day wait, 1 day wait, 1 day wait. Now, it would be so easy for me not to take responsibility there and say it was her fault and she didn't do this and she didn't do that. Well, what can I learn from that? There's no learning, because it's all over there with her. I chose to take full responsibility for that happening. And then once I did, I was like, okay, so what was missing over there with me? Well, I hadn't trained her in automation. So she was creating with limited information. My communication wasn't clear. And so what I did then is I hired somebody who was experienced in automation to put out automations and make sure that they worked perfectly, so that wouldn't happen again. And you can see with that, when you take responsibility, other actions, other pathways will open up for you to make sure that those things don't happen again. So my question for you is, what would your life be like if you took on 100% responsibility? I would love to hear your answers below and just see what would open up for you if you were to take on that concept in your life. Let me know your thoughts, like the email, like this video, share the comments. I really would love to know. Until next time, why not try on that concept? Take care. Bye-bye.